Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Skills and Abilities. Today, we're going to be going over the last Chaos ability on the tree, which is actually one that's available to everybody in the entire game, believe it or not. It is called Abyss. In the deepest, darkest abyss, there was. Oh, yeah, the Abyss. Abyss is a fun ability because it is one of the few pull-ins I think that has ever existed in Diablo 2. And it does have some connotations that allows you to make some interesting stuff. The Void rune word, which is Thulzod Ist, also has +3 to Abyss on it, and it does actually apply to non-characters, non-warlock characters, so you can utilize it on a like a paladin or an Amazon or a necromancer or something like that to get the pull-in effect. So let's talk about Abyss today. Let's talk about like what kind of effectiveness you can expect out of Abyss, and like if you max it out, is the damage good? Like how do you get the most out of the ability so that it does more damage or does more pull in? I mean, let's talk about it. So first off, let's just look at the ability and let's see how the ability functions. So when you cast the ability, it pulls in pretty much every single monster within range and does a significant amount of damage if you have it maxed out. It's right now it says 1,525 to 2,100 damage on hit, and then an average magic damage of 3,177 to 4,375 per second. Now the radius on this is maxed out because I'm currently maxing out enhanced entropy. Now enhanced entropy seems to be the main governing factor on the distance that the ability is capable of working. So if you're interested in using this ability and you want it to function at its utmost proficiency, enhanced entropy, which is this one, does actually increase the bonus abyss radius. So now that we've seen it in its splendor, let's reset real quick here and let's look at it as a 1-point wonder with no massive plus to skills. So just as a baby skill, it doesn't really do very much damage. As you can see, it only does like 49 to 81 damage. It only has a radius of 8 yards, and it does some pretty pathetic magic damage as well. So in general, with this particular ability, because of its short duration, only 2 seconds, its relatively short radius, which is only 8 yards, it tends to be not as useful in the early part of the game as a damage ability. It can be used to suck the monsters together, like no matter what level it is, as you can clearly see. It functions surprisingly well for at least that purpose, as I'm like totally about to die here because I forgot to put any points in HP. All in all, though, like I think any character could utilize Abyss in its like limited state, where it basically does no damage and has a relatively small radius. It does function better with a larger radius, though, and enhanced entropy increases the radius by a rather large amount as you level it. As you can see through my ethereal body, it's currently doing 1.6 yards with it right now, and as you level it up, that increases to a pretty massive degree. As of right now, it is 5.4 yards at level 27, and that seems to increase by a drastic amount. So at the moment, we are looking at a 12-yard radius abyss, which means that we get a much larger pull-in, and that much larger pull-in is going to help us tremendously as far as like keeping the monsters in check, because we can pull them in from further away, right? So we can get that pack of monsters nice and tight. Now, other than the fact that you can pull in monsters and like focus them in one spot, there's other reasons why you might want to do this besides just simply sucking them together, or like crowd control. Another good reason is damage output. So in a lot of cases with a lot of these miasma abilities, and I think this was entirely their purpose when they created this ability, is that the miasma abilities kind of put like these little clouds on the ground, and the clouds dish out damage per second. Miasma Bolt has a damage per second, Miasma Chain has a damage per second, and even Abyss itself has a damage per second. And if you were to utilize this with other abilities, like for instance other fire damage abilities, like maybe Firewall on the Sorceress, or any other ability that has like a static effect that sits on the ground, you could definitely get some interesting damage output by essentially forcing the monsters to all stand in one place. You can also potentially use this very effectively with ranged attacks like Echoing Strike, which go through the targets and then come back, because if you can get them all to sit in one place, then you get like the ability to pierce through them and dish out massive amounts of damage to the entire pack as opposed to individual targets. Mirrored Blades can also be utilized with ranged attacks, and that one also can be used in the same respect to have the targets all together in fire and dish out massive damage to the pack. In general, Abyss seems to function not only as a very good pull in, a support ability for other abilities to do more damage, but also a very good ability that does damage itself in the long run. So, Abyss tends to be one of those abilities that could be useful among a large subset of abilities. You could use it for any class in the game, thankfully, because of the Abyss weapon, right? You can also utilize it on pretty much any build. So if you were utilizing any of the fire builds, the Miasma build, if you were utilizing the demon build, or if you were utilizing any of the Eldritch abilities, you definitely make Abyss a 1-point wonder, essentially. Now, of course, I say 1-point wonder, but I think very clearly you would need 1, 2, 3, 4 points to really get Abyss. Thankfully, that does push you through Enhanced Entropy, which at the very least is going to give you some bonus to the Abyss radius. So no matter what, unless you're using the dagger, which doesn't give you Enhanced Entropy, obviously, you're going to get at least some additional Abyss radius from Enhanced Entropy as you pass through it, and with plus the skills can actually help tremendously. The only thing I really don't like about this ability is that it only lasts for 2 seconds and has a casting delay of 2 seconds. So you're basically just spamming the ability to keep it up. I kind of wish the ability had a little bit longer duration on it, like maybe 4 seconds, and the casting delay was 2, so that you could like set it and have like a field of like pull in, and then you don't have to sit there and just recast it every 2 seconds to keep it active. I do like the graphics on these miasma abilities. The purple effects are really cool. It's just a kind of a neat little effect. And of course, these are also magic damage themselves. So adding in magic damage reduction, or magic resistance reduction rather, or magic skill damage is definitely going to help. You can utilize the demons. There is a Defiler demon that you can consume if you want to get some additional magic resistance or magic damage. You can summon him. And you summon the Defiler, and when you summon him, you can eat him. And when you eat him, you get negative 10% enemy magic resistance and 17% magic skill damage. And if you want to go further down the tree, you can grab Bind Demon. Bind Demon allows you to bind specific demons throughout the world. And through my testing, I found out there were quite a few demons that had negative magic resistance on them. Battlemaid Serena had negative 45% enemy magic resistance, which was really cool. There was also YN Voidbringer with negative 45% enemy magic resistance. And one of the more easy ones was Shank the Overseer with negative 42% magic resistance, including his buddy, Sharptooth the Slayer, which is just north of him, with negative 47% enemy magic resistance. So there's definitely a lot of good options for you to use to increase the magic damage of Abyss and subsequently the other abilities as well. Now, either you 1-point wonder Abyss and use it as a pull-in, or you go full into the entire miasma tree, which is a total of 80 points. Actually, you can probably get away with less on Enhanced Entropy with plus the skills, but around, let's say around like 70 points, guaranteed to get like the maximum damage of these abilities. And they definitely do function extremely well together or separate with the Abyss ability. I think that's pretty much it. I'm interested to see how Abyss changes things and how many people utilize Abyss on their characters. Void definitely makes a very interesting weapon with the magic skill damage on it, and also the faster cast and plus the skills and the Abyss and the Decrepify. I think it's going to be a popular weapon this season. Maybe not specifically for the Warlock, but maybe for like a lot of other characters, like maybe a Hammerdin or a Bone Spear Necromancer or other classes that might want that magic skill damage and the Abyss to be able to suck monsters together. Think about a Bone Spear Necromancer, for example. Bone Spear pierces basically an infinite number of targets. I've tested this myself in Maggot Layer. You can basically have like a line of like little beetles and like little bugs, and it can be like 15, 16 monsters down the line, and you fire Bone Spear, and it will go through all the monsters, and it will dish out damage to all the monsters in that line. So if you have Abyss and you have this dagger on a Bone Spear Necromancer, you can of course suck them all together, and you can get more damage by piercing more targets with your Bone Spear, further optimizing how much damage your Bone Spear can do, which should be rather interesting to Bone Spear Necromancers. As always, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you enjoy the content. And as always, bink, keep watching.